A scene started, where Mugang was called by his father as he arrived and asked about it. His father asked if he remembered how Iron was during her childhood. Gang said that his sister was intelligent and stubborn, but also strong, as his father agreed, saying she was also exceptionally quick to learn things, and asked, didn't she have the heavenly yin body? As the person was former Madoram Lord Tsangram, as we get to know about the celestial yin body, as the innate of the yin kai leads to a significant enhancement in martial arts cultivation. However, the body's blood vessels will be gradually eroded by the kai, resulting in the body freezing to death. Tsangram said some warriors say it is a blessing from heaven, but to him and his son, it is a curse that tore their family apart. As Gang asked if he still regretted letting sister go away, as he agreed, saying that it is his only retreat, and said that the child said she would spend the rest of her life outside of Madoram and he shouldn't have let her go, and said that he should have brought Irin back with him. He said when he heard the news that she was fighting an illness and even gave birth to a child, as a father, the feeling of betrayal is indescribable. As Gang said if that's how father feels, then there is something he would like to ask him, and said he the Chamu Gang, the current Madoram Lord, and said that he would like to propose Jinmu Rin from the bloodline of excommunicated Choi Iron as the successor, and said that he recently received a message from Sanction that he will be entering Madoram soon, and said that his decision was made solely for the survival of Madoram, and asked him to understand, as Tsangram heard him and smiled, wondering his grandson, and questions when did he grow up. As then the scene shifted to the Sanction, where the mountains were shaking as they started to shake harder, and just then all the mountains get devastated, and we saw the two fighting each other as the lady looked at him as he was about to attack her with a powerful spell as he attacked her, but she was able to dodge that as the whole mountain was destroyed. As she asked what is he doing as he started to attack her, saying that he is the dragon of the Yellow River, as she called him crazy, as he asked why didn't she use her internal kai, saying if she is not going to make that fun then he will just kill her, as he was the 5th king of the Yellow River. As she replied if she used that then he will die, and said getting shouted at as a bonus, as she was the heavenly lord of the Sanction Jin Murin. As the king said that he is so upset, and said that he must have had a crazy master, as Jin asked if he is trying to provoke her, and said that kind of thing doesn't work on her. But then she decided to let him show something special, as the king was excited, as then Jin takes her position, saying that it's her secret technique that she learned from her crazy master, as then she takes both her hand and screws it and starts to say creak on repeat, as the king was eager to see that technique, and then she showed him the middle finger and laughed at him as she started to laugh like crazy, as the king was getting angry by that act of her, and said being mad what she just showed him was just a mere provocation, and asked did she think such thing will work on him. But to Jin, it seemed to work very well, as she was laughing crazily. As the king said that he will definitely kill her, she was laughing, his eyes suddenly losing her sight. Just then, she went close and struck him with a furious punch. He gets hit by the punch and falls far due to the impact. As he wonders, was that really one hit, and wonders how many times she hit him, as he considers it ridiculous to be true and couldn't believe that she, with just one hit, defeated him, who was one of the world's 10 heavenly martial warriors. As he was coughing in pain, Jin came there and asked him to wake up. As he looked at her, he punched her in her face and kept on asking her to wake up. As he kept on getting hit, and at last, he lost and said that he wasn't sleeping. As Jin asked what he was talking about, and said that he was sleeping soundly for an entire hour. As the king asked, will he kill him? He replied that this wasn't a fight to the death and asked him to call it a draw. As he was about to leave, the king asked him to just kill him. Jin replied that she will spare his life, but she has one thing to say, and said that she is leaving this place today, and said if he was looking for her again, seeking a master, then she will really kill him. Then as he asked her to ask him as he gets close, the king replied in no, as Jin slapped him, saying that it is a master's responsibility, as the king wonders that it was ridiculous to hear the fact that it was a master's responsibility, and realized if it were him then he would have cut both of his arms as payment for the insult, and wonders if he lost even his magnanimity to him, as he thought there was no one in the world who could match him, one of the 10 heavenly warriors. But he wondered that looking at her he had many thoughts, as he said that the Dragon King of the Yellow River will give him the position of the 5th king, but Jin said that she doesn't need that. As the king was shocked and asked her to record that he didn't need that 5th king, and said that he can keep it to himself, as he laughed and asked her not to be modest, and said that he will take care of it by himself then. As then he said that Job told him that he is leaving Sanction, and said if he wants to challenge him in the future then where can he find him. As Jin said that she is not leaving, she is just taking a break, but said that he will never find him as he is going to hide away. And then he was about to leave, saying if he wanted to die then asked him to come and find him, as Jin wonders with that he didn't have to worry about Sanction for a while, as then he looked at the scroll and realized that it's the Madoran, as it is a place where his father was born and raised, the place that abandoned him and his mother. He wonders, although he was going there to succeed his mother's wishes, but if he stays in the sanction then he will be one step closer to the Muram alliance, as it would be better to go as far as possible and consider that as a strange world, and said, who would have thought that a bandit like him would be a prince? As the scene shifted to 2 weeks later in the outskirts annex, a person said that he heard his father was a hunter in Mount Odison and said that his father must have been someone like that too, as his face doesn't resemble his. The person said that the boy looked so pretty that he thought it was a young lady. The bald person agreed, saying that he has sharp eyes like that of a young lady, and they can tell just by looking at him. They laughed at him as the bald man said that he must have heard this, that one's eyes are the window to their soul, and said surely even his character must resemble that of a lady, pure like white jade. As they kept on making fun of Jin, "See, I told you it was not me, they did it on purpose." As Jin was right there on the roof, lying and wondering what fate. He said he finally came there because of his mother's will but cannot get used to it, and questioned what it means to be a prince. He looked towards someone and asked, "Isn't that right?" and called her Seongyo, as she was struggling and climbing the stairs, as then she said that she found him. As he asked her not to be reckless, she asked him to come down and asked if he thought that he could avoid today's schedule by hiding in a place like that. Just then, Seongyo lost her grip and fell down. Jin carried her and asked, what if she's pushing herself so hard? As he gets really scared, he asked her to tell him today's schedule. Seongyo firstly thanked him for his hard work since dawn and said now he has the Muram Studies lecture by Lord Naramwon, and then after practicing martial art, he will have dinner with Lord Tsangram, and at night he should read the martial arts book and then go to bed. As he was frustrated, asking if he came all this way to do just this, she replied that he is the only successor of Madoram and that is why he was summoned, and asked what else he would want to see and learn. As he replied that she sure has a sharp tongue. But then he said that he heard Madoran was doing well, but it is just a big piece of land and there are not many people around. She said that it may seem that way to him and said that her mother said that there used to be a lot of people in the Madoran, and it is because of the 8 blood kings, and said that he will hear about this in the lecture soon enough. As then Seongyo jumped down and went to Lord Naramwon and introduced her and informed him that the prince had arrived. As he welcomed him and said that they have prepared warm tea and refreshments as event there, and called him an old man and asked him to finish that quickly. Max said that it seemed to be in a hurry today. As Jin said, be it an old man lectures for anything else, he does not find anything here that interesting. Max laughed and said it seems that he also takes after his mother in these liking lectures, but said however it is essential knowledge if he wants to survive in Muram. As Jin asked about the topic, the old man replied that it is about the warriors at the top of the Muram and he should never fight against them because their skills are too great. Jin replied that he doubts that he will ever meet such people in a place like this, but assures him that he will remember it. And then it begins. The old man asked him if he knows about the 10 great heavenly warriors, and asked him to recite it. As then he said that the 10 great heavenly warriors consist of Hwang Sam, 5 kings, and say to these 3 are part of what is known as the 10 great heavenly warriors of the world, and said other than them there is also the hero Shenlong, who defeated the enemy leader in the Great War of the Heaven and saved Muram. Then there is Lee So Ryong, but he is on a different level than the 10 great warriors. 10 of them are called the 10 great heavenly warriors, excluding Shenlong, who has reached the heavenly transcendence realm. And ask, isn't that interesting? Jin replied that it's an old known story, as the old man realized that he knows it well. However, he told him that there is a new master who has recently taken the place of the 5th king, and he is the leader of the big bandit group in Sanction, and some call him the Faceless King. As Jin spits out the tea on his face after listening to it, as he was stunned and asked what he said, as the old man wiped his face and said that he is the leader. Some also called him the Shadow of the 3 heads and 6 arms. As Jin heard that and wondered about it, the old man said that his movements are so unpredictable and his exact appearance is unknown, hence the name Faceless King, and called him a crazy who unified all the major bandit groups in Mount Wuman and became the Mountain King. As he was stunned and was fumbling like a child and asked about the month, the 5th king and Yellow River King and the Dragon King and Your Highness, as the old man confirmed as he remembered what the 5th king had told him at his loss, as Jin was shocked to realize that the Yellow River bastard and wonder if he really giving me the position of the 5th king. As the scene shifted, a person said, even if she is scared, you have to endure it, and if you just hold a little longer, those guys will leave too. As the girl was in the tree, she asked if her brother was not coming in. He replied that he is going to hide somewhere else and asked her not to come out until the sun rises. As they arrived and asked to find them, he asked her to get inside quickly. As then he rushed, and the men had arrived and asked the others to catch him. As he was running, the men threw a knife towards him. As it touched his arms and cut through, he fell down. As the men saw that it's just a child and he is the spawn of the demon, and said that he must be killed. as the man said that he thought about it and asked if he had forgotten the teaching of the heavenly dragon. And he said that we should not lay their hands on those who have not yet mastered martial arts or on children. The person replied that such complacency is what brought disaster upon the world and asked didn't they pay the price for not completely eradicating the 8 blood kings 200 years ago, and reminds them that they lost their wife and daughter. And he lost his only brother and said that he lost his entire family and raised his sword saying if they don't want a second coming of the right blood kings and they have to kill all the damn humans in the hidden valley. Just then someone asked him to stop, as it was the old man and Xiangyo there, as he said that he can understand his feelings. But that child is innocent as he asked them to identify themselves and asked them if they are from the hidden family. The old man denied that as the person then asked him to be on his way as the child is the spawn of the demons. The old man denied, saying that the child is not the spawn of the demons. The hidden valley of Mount Chengsu is a place that did not participate in the war against the 8 blood kings, and said it is only related to the right blood kings in name but said that it is an entirely different place. The person replied that it's the first time he is hearing of this and asked what evidence did he have. The other person said that they didn't need the evidence and said that to him all of them are the same demons, as he is about to attack him. Just then the old man called out Nurin, as then she rushed towards them, as the men asked to look out, as she was reaching so fast towards them, as then she used the demon's martial arts. As the men noticed that his sword is not in his hand as if was Murin who took the entire sword and asked them to go back and warned that she will not say that again. As everyone was stunned to see that as the men turned around and were escaping, but that man was pissed and grabbed his knife as Murin gave him a dead look. As the man realized that he got no chance and then turned being mad left. As the old man said that it seems that this is his karma as he called her and said when he was young he took pity on a poor boy and taught him martial arts, but said that he ended up joining the 8 blood kings and fighting in the war and asked she won't do that. As she replied that we will see as the old man said she knows he didn't have much time left so he had a difficult request to ask of him, and asked her to tell him and said that many people in the hidden valley are losing their innocent lives and he needs him to help them see them with light and life. As she replied that it won't be easy as he said with his heavenly spirit's arts she can do it. As Murim said it won't be easy because his strong yin energy has been sealed but at least he won't be getting beaten up anymore and asked wouldn't it be easier to just kill their leader of the heavenly dragon. As he replied that bloodshed will only lead to more bloodshed and said that he must help those she protects and live in harmony with the world and asked if that's right, and asked her to let's go to sanction as she replied whatever he says. The old man said as skilled as she is, she could still be a target and asked him to always be aware of his surroundings and be careful. As she replied that he got it and assured that she will be careful of the hidden valley of the martial arts. As then the old man called her and apologized to him, but she replied that it her who have to be more sorry, as it was all into the mind of Jin as he tried that the king of Mount Wumade, one of the 10 great warriors of the world, is him and a bandit group led by one of the 10 great warriors which isn't coexisting in the world and he is a public enemy as the old man was calling him saving in front of him asking if he can see him. As we get to know about the master's first disciple, the leader of the 8 blood kings who caused bloodshed and took countless lives, Huangdunshan, and with his subversive martial arts, he caused the 8 desolation bloodbath, which claimed countless lives. Even now, many warriors are killing innocent people in the hidden valley to get revenge, which is why he is also hiding his identity and pretending to be ignorant of the Murim world. As Jin remembered that she had mentioned that earlier, Jin was pissed and cursed and asked him to just wait until they meet again. He is able to hear the old man asking if he is okay, as the old man was close asking what's the matter with him, as he didn't look so well. He replied that his feelings are well and apologized to him and asked if he thought that he should rest today. As then he said that it's good as he was about to start another story about a great warrior who performed incredibly despite not feeling well. As Jin stopped him, asking him to just rest today. But again that stupid old man went along with the story of someone who became the first swordsman in the world without taking a single day off. Then the scene shifted where, in the meeting room, they said since they have finished the basic Murim studies lectures, he thinks it is time to start assigning positions for the successor training. A person said in the current situation where the balance of power and sanction is tilting, and he believes that leaving the position of successor vacant for too long is not a wise decision. Lord Naramwin suggested that they start taking steps to bring him into the spotlight now, but someone said that he sees things differently. This person said that he thought they were just going to skip over this today and asked him to go ahead and speak his mind. It was Lord Orimwin who said, although it is said that His Highness Jin Murin is a direct descendant, what matters is not whether he is a blood relative but does he have the ability to take on the role of successor, which was the key point. He said that he is sure that Lord Tisang knows this, as the sudden appearance of His Highness is not very positive for them. And how can they trust and accept such a person as their successor when they didn't even know where he came from or what he had been up to at this time? And asked him to give them a chance to verify the qualifications of the successor, Lord Tisang, as he said indeed, he can make a good point if that's what they all want. He said that Lord Oromwan gave Jin Murin an assignment to verify his abilities and asked him to keep the topic of the assignment a secret so that even he cannot interfere. As then Oromwan was with him, who said that the task must be reasonable and of an appropriate difficult level. Oromwan said that is why he is here. Jin said that he is just sugarcoating the fact that he thinks he is not good enough and asked him to tell him the assignment. As then he told him about the place, the Chungin, and said that it is located in the northwest of Sanction's central region and asked him to take back the Chungin. Jin said when he says take it back, he asks if he means it was stolen. He replied that it was originally managed by Madoram, but it was taken away by Chialsabang, which was a black market section that is active in Uljong, and they were quite a troublesome bunch. As Jin laughed, saying they say that even a rich family can only last for 3 generations, and asked has Madoram family fallen so far that it can even have its business taken away by a mere black market gang. As Oromwan got mad and asked him to watch his words and said Chialsabang is not a simple black market gang. As Jin gave him a serious look asking what he was shouting about when he had his business taken away by a black market gang. As he was speechless, as then Jin stood up apologizing, saying he is just sensitive to loud noises because his ears are sensitive, and he confirmed if he asked him to take the chung back. Oromwan confirmed that it was right and told him not to worry as they will provide him with an escort for his safety. As Jin wondered that it is ridiculous, as he understood that he is just sending someone to surveil him. As Oromwan wondered what was it as he was just acting all highness and calm that he won't even succeed. As then Jin said that he will do it since he is asking him to and asked about the deadline. Oromwan said that he will give him 5 days as he cursed him in mind to give it a try. But Jin sighed and said that he knew it and replied that he didn't even need 5 days and raised his hand saying 2 days and assured that he will get it back in 2 days. As Oromwan wondered if it was an easy task, then they would have already taken back the Chungin themselves and realized that he must have realized it himself that it is not an easy task. As then Jin said about the escort and said that he will pick them up by himself, as he said that Oromwan was going to send someone to follow him anyway. As Oromwan said that this is all for his safety, as he was really pissed by him. As Jin said if he has nothing else to say then asked him to leave, as he needs to sleep or he is going to move tonight. As Oromwan replied that he understands and asked him to get some rest. As he left, thinking that even though it's a difficult assignment, they don't need him as the successor to Madoram, but realized the spirit he possesses seems useful to him. As he left after that, the old man came in running and called out Jin, as he was mad seeing him. As the old man said that he heard that Lord Oromwan had come by and asked what did he say. As Jin yawns and said that he asked him not to borrow other people's strength. As the old man called Lord Oromwan a grumpy old man, saying that there is no way he would give him an easy task, and about to help him, asked if he can do anything. As Jin said he was advised to choose his own escort and asked him to suspend the lectures for the time being. As the old man asked what good are lectures in this situation and asked did he really need any other help. As Jin said that if it's going to be tough then he will just have to crack it open and asked isn't that how a rolling stone survives. As the old man asked if he is sure, as Jin asked what he is talking about and said wherever there are people he asked isn't all the same. As Jin asked the old man not to follow him as that was his business. As the old man asked where is he going, he replied that for a night walk. As Jin wonders, it is a perfect night for rumors of a 3-headed and 6-armed monster to be going about as he moves forward and wonders now that he had put Song Yeo to sleep and also he doesn't have the guide and says he went too many places and he entered Madoram. As he was in the forest and wondered what the hell is this bamboo forest. As he got lost just then he heard a sound and wondered if that sound was of a pipa. As he moved forward and said that they are quite well and wonder who it is. As he moved towards the sound and saw a person who was singing as he sings very well. Jin gets close and gets in front of him as the person sees him there. Jin smiles at him as he gets a little nervous seeing and said how beautiful it is and claps for him as the person gets blushed and feels awkward as Jin said that he is discerning one and asked about his name. As the person said that he is a member of the 6th rank of Muljeomdi. As then Jin asked what he is doing there at this time. He replied that he spent his last night as an outlaw. Apai said that he knows a longer holder sword and set judging from his attire he must be the rumored prince. Jin replied that he has good observation skills, but asked how can a seemingly healthy man like him not be able to hold a sword. He asked him what color the moon looked to him. He replied that the moon looks yellow as he sighed and replied that everything looks gray to him. Jin said he guessed that's why he failed his mission as the person commented, saying that he is very perceptive as Jin laughed and asked him to tell him the story. The person said that he was the leader of the Manhwa Special Forces unit in Manhwa. He said that he thought he was doing pretty well and he was given the mission to guard the Musan County branch office in the east. And there was an intruder at the branch office. He said it just so happened that the intruder's clothes were exactly the same as his men asked for his help. As he asked to hold on a little bit as then he used his sword shattering technique, but because of the intruder he killed his own men. As the other soldiers saw that and asked for a retreat, as in the end, he failed to distinguish between friend and foe and seriously injured his comrade. And that is how he failed to defend the Musan County branch office, and the Manhwa had to retreat. And he was subsequently demoted to a regular member. And not only that, but he could no longer hold a sword because of the guilt and asked, "Isn't that a pathetic story?" and thanked them for listening to it as Jin looked at him. The person said that if he is the young master of Madoram, at least no one in the capital would there to treat him lightly, and wished him luck as Jin asked where he was going. He replied that this isn't the place for him, so he is leaving, and so said that he should go somewhere quiet and farm. As then Jin said, what is he talking about farming for when he cannot even master the basics of being a warrior, and told him to stop saying nonsense and asked him to show him his sword. As he asked what he was talking about, as then he showed Jin his sword as he looked at the sword and said, for someone who wants to give up his sword he has taken good care of it, and said that he is a warrior to the core. As the person was stunned to hear that, Jin said that this is a bare minimum for a warrior of Madoram and said this family is falling into ruin and asked if he still has his pride and asked him to accompany him to the Chingin, and he will change his mind. The person took back his word, saying he was just telling him again that he is leaving this place. As Jin looked at him being pissed and said that he just said that he didn't have any place in the Madoram, as he assures that then Jin said that he will make a place for him and asked him to let's stick together, as the person wondered that he is a reckless man and a man with nothing left to lose and wonder if he followed him will things be different. As the scene shifted to 1 hour later where they say that they are done for, as it was Jin who was on the ground, and the person was stunned to see him down and realized that he is screwed. As the scene shifted to the northwest district of Sangchun, where Jin said, inside the city walls of Sangchun, there are 2 main districts that connect before gates, the east, west, south, and north. These 2 roads are 10 jang wide. He said currently Madoram is in charge of the northeast district. As the person asked who is in charge of the other 3 districts, he told him that currently the 2 southern districts are controlled by the Supreme Sword Sect, while the remaining one is divided among the cooperative gangs. He said for some reason, they are afraid of one black market gang, and there must be someone really powerful behind them. He said if they attacked Cheolsabang, he wanted the Supreme Sword Sect to step in. The person replied if there is justification. However, they prefer not to engage in open warfare, and fighting Madoram would result in significant casualties. Jin said if they fight against the Supreme Sword Sect, then what will be their odds? He replied that it would be a certain defeat. He told him that the masters in Madoram and the Supreme Sword Sect are almost equal. However, the scale of their troops is different, and Cheolsabang follows the Supreme Sword Sect. Jin said in that case, they should not give the Great Sword Sector an excuse to move against them. As the person was stunned and asked what he was going to do, Jin told him that he is going here and said that this is the Chungin, and it will become Jin Muram's territory. He was shocked to hear that Jin said that there will be a commotion inside for a while, but he won't have to fight. As the person asked if he is going alone and said that he will go with him, Jin said that there is no need. He said that he will need to give them a reason to not interfere. He said that he must not come inside no matter what, as he agreed to him and wondered if there was a part of him that believes in him. As then Jin goes to him, everyone looked at him. As Jin said, it's a tavern, and asked to bring him a bottle of liquor and a glass. Then there was a group as he called out, calling him a pretty boy, saying he has not seen his face around and asked if he is new in the town. Jin assured him as he says then he is telling him this since he is new here and said therein charges a seating fee at this hour and asked would he mind opening his pouch. As he was Cheolsabang's leader, Yuk Mu Bong, Jin realized that if he is from Cheolsabang, then it is only natural for them to act like this and said as expected it is the same everywhere he goes and asked, calling them baldies, if they are always so greedy. He said that they are good for nothing. Then Mubong gets mad and punches him as the men grab him, saying that he can't even dodge his punches as they were hitting him with their muscles and punches. Outside, he can hear and realize that Jin only knows a bit of self-defense and guess that he is not just an ordinary person. That maybe he is stronger than the rumors suggest as just then the door breaks out as he looking for the young master. But he was stunned to see the men talking about their victory as he looked behind and wonder if that was Jin and was stunned to realize that it was really him. as he grabbed him and asked him to wake up and asked if he was okay. As Jin asked did he see that and said now even the great sword sect cannot intervene. He realized now what he meant when he said that he will give them a reason to not interfere, as then Mubong and his men saw him and asked if he is the insect from Madoram who can't even use a sword. Now he had realized the reason the young master brought him there, as then the men noticed that he called him the young master and asked how can a weakling like him be Madoram's prince, as the person asked them did they know whom they had just touched, as they were stunned to realize and couldn't believe as he assured them saying that this person is indeed the prince of Madoram. As we get to know what followed was a momentary event, and it wasn't a fight between Chialsabang under the Supreme Sword Sector and Madoram's prince, but rather a unilateral assault by Chialsabang towards the prince, and Chialsabang, a mere local gang, was nowhere near the level of Madoram. As then the scene shifted, where the person said that Jin had faced the punches in a rather unfortunate spot, and if his meridians are damaged, it could potentially lead to paralysis. As Jin asked why is he saying, as the prince even hired members from the theatrical troupe to disguise themselves as legislators to pressure. As Lord Tiseng called him the leader of Chialsabang's leader who was sweating as he asked him to listen carefully and said that Murin is his own flesh and blood and whom he brought back to Madoram with great difficulty after searching everywhere. He is a child who may become Madoram's successor in the future and said as much as he wants to tear him to pieces right now, he will follow Murin's own wishes in this matter. As Jin lying in the bed said that the Prince of Madoram was beaten up by a mere black market gang, which has tarnished the honor of their sect, and the news has spread throughout Sanction, and he cannot bear to face the world. As Tisangram said that he just wants to end his life, as Mubong was scared and begged him, asking not to do that to him and asked him to look at him just once, and said that he cannot offer him any words of comfort but say it that he has brought him some money for the medical expenses. As Tisangram asked if he is insulting him with the money, as he denied, saying that is not what he meant, and then asked him to tell him what he wanted and said that he will give him anything he wanted. The old man asked if the young master could have been for that, as Lord Oromon wondered if he used force to take the inn and it would have given the Supreme Sword Sect an excuse to fight back. But wondered even so, he asked if he has no pride as a warrior, as then Jin said from the bed said if he gave up the Chungin, then he would give it to him. As Mubong is that all the young master wants and asked him to take it and he'll give that to him. As Mu said that it is perfect as it is a cheap price to pay for making the Prince of Madoram a cripple, as the amount of money he brought as medical expense is even higher than the value of the inn. As then Jin asked him to leave the medical expenses too as he was stunned and asked the young master isn't that enough, as he looked at him and blackmailed, saying that he wanted to end his life as then Mu agreed that he will leave it here for him. As afterwards, Lord Tisangram's anger did not subside, but the leader of Chialsabang was able to return home on the condition of giving the inn and the medical expenses. As he left then Tisangram said it was a crisis that could have left him crippled and asked what on earth happened at the inn. Then Jin stood up, saying that he just wanted to drink some alcohol, and reassured them not to worry, as the internal injuries were a lie. As then Tisangram said in that case he will ask him just one thing and said that this incident which left him with such injury, and asked was it the assignment given to him by Lord Orimwan. As Orimwan was about to agree on that, just then Jin denied that it was not him and said it's because of changing people's heart, and that is what he thought the theme of this assignment was. As Orimwan was stunned to listen to him as then Tisangram asked in that case what did he think, and asked if he had passed or failed the test. As the others said that the young master's method is beyond their understanding. However, he said everything is to change people's hearts. Then he said that he had passed and congratulated him as then Jin was leaving. Lord Orimwan came there and asked him to wait as he asked about it. As he was fumbling, Jin asked him to speak quickly as he needed to go have fun with the winnings. As then he asked if the young master had endured that humiliation just to pass the test. Jin asked what humiliation and asked if pride really was that important. Lord Orimwan asked isn't Murim a place where lives are at stake because of pride? As Jin smiled and asked him to listen carefully and said if a man has ambition and asked him how he can avoid humiliation, and said that he could not even get back the Chungin that was taken away by some black market gang, and said if he is a warrior it only post about his pride, and asked then what glory comes to him, and asked him to snap out of it and face the reality of Madoram, especially now that they have an enemy like the Supreme Sword Sector. As then they left, Lord Orimwan wondered let go of his pride as he understood what he was trying to say but wondered why he chose that difficult path. He wonders if there are countless people in Murim who will try to hold him back and say that he means what warriors would follow a young prince who was beaten up by a bunch of thugs, and realize that he will need to use some effort to secure them young master's support base. As the scene shifted at the Sanction Center where the men were gathered and enjoying their meal, a person said that he had worked hard on this trip too, as he called them little rascals. The men asked him where he is going to open this vintage and asked him to give them a sip. The person asked them to dream on as he would not give them anything, then said that it is the end of an arrow to think that a gangster like them is planning the role of law enforcement. The person was Mujinpyo, the leader of headquarters in the central area. The person called him and asked what's with this ticket inspection thing. He replied that it is cool as they just have to extort money and drink, that is all, and said as long as the Supreme Sword Sector looks the other way, anyone who messes with their meals will get their head chopped off. Just then a person came there running, calling Mujinpyo, as he was scared and said that it's chaos now, and said that he ran for a long time and now he is dying of thirst, and asked if he can give him something to drink, and took the pot right in front of him and drank as everyone was stunned to see that. Mujinpyo was mad to see that and called him crazy. The person told him that alcohol is something Mujinpyo obtained with difficulty during a mission with the Supreme Sword Sector. He apologized, saying he knew that it was that kind of alcohol. Then Mujinpyo grabbed his head and asked him to shut up and slammed his head down on the ground, asking can't he hear him talking. The person was stunned to see him as he wondered what the matter was. Mujinpyo said if he is making a fuss over something trivial, and told him to know that it will be his last day. As then the person asked him by any chance if he had remembered Choi Il-rin from Madoran, as he confirmed, asking if she is the one who disappeared from Madoram 30 years ago. As he confirmed that it's right, Mujinpyo said of course he remembered, as she was the daughter of Cho Pyong, the leader of Madoram. She had a beauty that surpassed the most beautiful in the world and exceptional talent in martial arts, and if she had not died because of the celestial yin body, then the situation in Sanction would be very different today. The person said that he remembered it, but said the thing is the son of that woman named Choi Il-rin has appeared. Mujinpyo could not believe it and asked if he was trying to joke right now, and asked if he is saying that she gave birth to a child with the celestial yin body. The person confirmed that it's true. Madoram is in chaos right now. He asked what is the use of a successor showing up at this point. Mujinpyo asked if that guy happened to learn martial arts, as the person replied that he does not know about that. As he was struggling, he said that he really does not know as he heard the news and came running immediately. Mujinpyo asked him not to be scared, as then he asked him where he was going. He replied that he should go to the Supreme Sword Sector and ask them to finish their drinks. He wondered that currently, the person who is looking after their people is the Supreme Sword Sector, a powerful figure in Sanction, and since Madoram, he thought Sashin belonged to the Supreme Sword Sector, the son of Choi Il-rin, who was praised as the greatest genius in Sanction, and if he has inherited her talent and mastered martial arts, then it will be no wonder that he would have grown to be such a great martial artist. Such a person was beaten by someone like Chialsabang and considered that ridiculous, as he realized that it is clear that they are hiding something. As the scene shifted to the meeting, where a person says while he was away dealing with external matters, it seems there was quite an event that happened, and he heard the news when he arrived and asked if his body okay. Asked the person, was the master of the Storm Sword Chomu gang, as Jin was there, and replied that it was nothing and he had troubled this sector leader. As Lord Orumwon said that it is his mistake and asked him to punish him. The leader says that there is no need to blame anyone and asked him not to worry, and said, in any case, it seems that the sector leader has won the bet, and asked if he considered a position suitable for Murin. The old man replied, assuring him that they considered placing him in the Secret Lion faction. But the person denied, saying it wouldn't work as the Secret Lion faction, which deals with information, does not suit Murin, and it would not work as there is no room. As the quarrel started, asking him about assigning him to Heenyoung Pavilion, but that also turned out to be a failure, and asked to consider other options, as the leader wondered that they are all avoiding taking care of Murin, who was beaten up by Chialsabang. As then Lord Orumwon said that he had a suggestion. As the leader asked him to tell him what position was suitable, he said that he wants to create a division for small business owners, and said that he suggested establishing a Northwestern division.